All right, talking my way out of a DUI. Let's get right into it. So, this took place in about 2012, 2013. I wasn't even 21 years old yet, okay? I just got a car when I turned 18. Never had a learner's permit, never had a car to drive to high school, whatever. When I was 18, I was like, fuck it. I wanted to get my ID so I could buy, mainly because I wanted to buy cigarettes and blunts, even though I could already do that at a couple of different places that I convinced I got my license suspended back when I was like 15. But I wanted to be able to go like anywhere. Like I got lucky when I got my medical card and they let me use a copy of my birth certificate, which is hella illegal. For sure that was not legal, but hey, it was what it was. So, for this story, like I said, I'm like 19 years old, okay? And um, at the time, I was hanging out with these girls, and these girls like to party, man. And me, I'm not a big party dude. Like, especially when it comes to like drinking. And these girls, like, they like to drink fucking tequila and all that shit. And like the only thing for me at the time was I had a prescription for Xanax, and I had it. I had the bars, and I was supposed to take 3 a day. So I would get a bottle that would have 90 in it. Okay, so that was like a regular thing for me for years and years and years and like a decade at least. But that was taking place during this time. So we're partying every day, every night, drinking, stayed up till 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, straight up like partying during the night, sleeping during the day, waking up still kind of drunk or barred out or whatever, and doing the same shit all over again. Not something that I would suggest. So, like, after day like 5 of that, like, finally, like, I had kind of been like, I would stay, with one of the girls like one time somewhere, and then maybe I'd crash at like a homie's pad who was chilling with me, who was talking to one of the other girls. But like, eventually, I can remember that I wanted to go home. Like, I just like felt like I hadn't been home in a minute, and I had my prescription on me, so I had no reason to go home or whatever. And like, but eventually, like, it was probably like 10 or like 11 o'clock. I lost so much like sense of time during this. But eventually I'm able to like talk to my homie and be like, yo, like, can I drop you off, and like I'm gonna go home, like, and like sleep and whatever. Like, we had just been like going hard for like 5 days at that point. So finally I drop him off, and and I'm on my way back to my house that's right by the Galleria Mall. The Galleria Mall is a mall that's pretty known in the South Bay. That it's kind of like in the heart of the South Bay, I guess. I saw somebody, I didn't see them get stabbed, but I was in the escalator when I was a kid, and I was there, and they like rushed in and they brought in somebody on a stretcher who like he got stabbed. I guess it was like a gang thing, and like I just remember like it was like gnarly as fuck. It was like right next to me, and they just like ran into the elevator as it was like going down, and like I don't know. They probably should have like cleared that shit out, but I don't know. That was like fucking like 20 years ago or something. But anyways, the Galleria, it's known. It's an area, Like my house was like right on the other side of it, like right on where I was. Like there was the mall, like where I was, the mall, and then my pad, like right on the other side. So I'm in my car and I'm by myself and I'm waiting at the light and I'm waiting at the light and I'm waiting for the light to turn turn green. And as I'm waiting, apparently I start like nodding off. And when I nod off, my foot comes off of the brake. So when my foot comes off of the brake, I roll, literally roll, like seriously going like a mile an hour, 2 miles an hour, and I just bump into the car. Like I've been hit by a car, and I've hit cars harder in bumper cars. Then what happened? So like I kind of like wake up after the little bump, and all of a sudden I see that there are two women, both like from the driver's seat and the passenger seat, and they're turning around and they're yelling at me, pull over, follow us, pull over. And there was like where the Galleria is, there's a big parking lot, like that's like right there off of Artesia and Hawthorne. So like usually they sell Christmas trees there, or they have a big fair there, so it's like empty. So I follow them and I pull into the thing, and it's two women, and they're just like livid, like like, and they had already called the cops, and they had already called like insurance. They did all of that before we even like had contact officially. So I'm there, and like I'm like burnt the fuck out. Like how I just explained to you how that was like day 5 or 6 of me. Like I was like a zombie, like a shell of a human being at that point. Like I wasn't about to do nobody any favors at all. So they're like asking me, like I could tell that the cops kind of like pick up on it, even though at first they look, and remember there was two women. That'll be important. They look and they see everything, and they talk to the women, and like they can like tell, like they're like, you're not hurt, right? And they're trying to like bullshit and say, oh, my neck, my back, whatever. But like the cops like knew, and they were just like, you're not hurt, like there's no injury report, like I'm not going to do an injury report. And then he looks at the car, and then he looks at my car, and he's like, yeah, and I don't see any damage. There's not even paint transfer, like, so I'm not going to write a damage report either. So obviously, the females are pissed about this because they wanted something to happen to me, you know? And, like, so at that point, it's kind of like the cops were on my side at that point. At that point, remember that. So, like, they're explaining to me like, yeah, it's fine, like there's really no damage, nobody got hurt. So um you know and then when I start talking to them, then I think they started to see how like I was slurring my words, and I was like saying like wrong stuff and all this stuff. So I remember they started asking me like they like it totally changed. Like I thought they had my back for a second, and then it turned into like, sir, what kind of medications are you on? Like immediately, just like that. And I'm sure, like, it's not like it was unwarranted. I was probably slurring my speech and probably was acting like a fucking idiot. But they started asking me, like, uh, do you take any medications? And I just tell them, I'm like, well, yeah, I do take medication. And he's like, okay, what's your medication? And I tell him, it's Xanax. And he goes, okay, like, do you have it with you? And I was like, yeah, it's in my center console, like it's right there. And like I had just gotten it, so like, it was like, it's not like there was a bunch missing and it was like from like yesterday or whatever. Like it was all legit. I don't think they even paid attention to that, honestly, but he was just like, oh, do you have your name on it? So I was like, yeah. So then I explained to him, I was like, yeah, it tells me to take 3 a day. And at that time, it was like 12 o'clock, maybe like I said, like 10, 11, 12 o'clock. So I explained to him, I was like, yeah, like honestly, he's like, so have you taken one today? And I was like, honestly, I've taken two today. I was like, like normally, like that's my routine is, I wake up early in the morning and I take one, then I take one in the middle of the day, and then I take one during like the evening. And then I had a different medicine for like insomnia and stuff like that. So, like, that's what I said. And, um, so I hand him my bottle, and I like he tells me to sit in my car, and he goes and he talks to the other cops, because by then there's like, I don't know, probably like four cops there. Like, they just like kind of kept coming, which you already know, when more than one cop car comes, it's never a good sign. But I've managed to get lucky like two times I can think of, where like I thought I was going when they did the little tap and everything, and another car showed up, and miraculously it was for something else. And I was in another state too. Shit. But anyways, um, yeah, I he goes and like talks to the people while I'm sitting in my car. He's talking to the like people from the accident, whatever, and then they take off and leave, and then he's talking to the cops, and then he comes over and like, or no, he tells me to come out and go over to them, and I'm like I can barely walk, like I'm straight up like, like wobbling, and I go over to them, and they're like, all right, look, they're like, we can't do anything to you because it's your medication, and you've taken your medication. There's nothing illegal with you taking your medication. Like, you're on your way home. Like, I just kind of like, I didn't even realize it, but I just had the perfect kind of things going for me, that I just was like, yo, man, I'm tired. I've been out. Like, I just want to go home and go to sleep. Like, blah blah blah. And I was being real about that, but it would just fit the profile of like, yeah, I did take another one. But it's like, if I hadn't got pulled over by the cops, I would have been home. Well, actually, fuck. If I hadn't hit the car, so I can't say pulled over by the cops. If I hadn't have fucking like bumped into that car, then I would have been home, whatever. But as I'm there, like it's taking effect more and more, like as the time goes on and stuff. So, like, basically, what happens is they tell me, all right, look, like I said, they said that they couldn't charge me. So they're like, all right, if you can call somebody to pick you up, then we won't impound your car, but we're not, like, you can't drive home. You cannot drive home from here. So like, we're gonna stay here, and like, you're gonna call somebody, and you're gonna call them to pick you up, and they're gonna bring someone with them to get the car. Like, so I basically had to have two people, because I had to have someone come, and I had to have someone come drive my car who was like straight. So like, I actually managed to like to call someone, and I'll never forget this. I don't have a good like rapport with cops when I'm in like an interrogation situation, like whether it's in an interrogation room or just like talking to them like on the streets. I'm just like really bad at it, and like I'm just usually so gone off of whatever, that like I can barely fucking talk to myself, let alone another human being, let alone a cop. So I'm calling, like, I'm trying to call people, and I'm like, I'm surrounded by like three or four cops. and I'm saying like, yo, yo, hey, like I didn't really explain much, but I was like, hey, can you come pick me up on, can you pick me up on Anza and PV Boulevard? Like and if you don't know, those streets run the same way. And then the cops were like, no, those streets don't run. And then like I was like, oh shit, oh shit. And then I was like, all right, I need you to pick me up on uh 182nd and Redondo Beach Boulevard or something, and those streets run the other way, like the same way. And so like the cop actually got fucking pissed off, and I can remember he took the phone from me, and he literally snatched the phone from my hand, and he was like pissed off, and he was like, hello. And then he explained like exactly where we were on what you know I wasn't super far off exactly, but I wasn't close. So he explains like where to go, and luckily I had someone come and they picked me up, and like they take my car home. And the crazy part is by the time I got home, which like, this whole thing took maybe like less than an hour and a half or something. By the time I got home, I had an email, and it was from the general, the car insurance, the general, and it said that I was being sued by 4 people for bodily injury. Yeah, 4 people. There was 2 people in the car, and the cop said that he wasn't going to make a report for a bodily injury. So actually, like, I kind of tripped on that because they were really trying to like take that shit to the box, like, for lack of a better term. They were trying to like keep going with it, and time had gone by, and like insurance was like starting to like try to get a hold of me, and like other things were trying to get a hold of me. And the thing was is I couldn't remember anything because I was so fucked up at the time. Like I really could not remember, and they wanted my account, like the insurance company, like that for a claim or whatever, or to like go against the claim. They wanted my account, and I was nervous, and I thought that they were gonna be able to give me a DUI. I thought they were gonna be able to like charge me with the DUI, but then after like kind of looking around and doing some research, I realized that if they were going to give me a DUI, they would have had to have done it right then and there. They can't give me a DUI later on because I can't remember something, like, so, they called, and I just like spoke to the best of my abilities, and in the long run, I think it was really simple in the end, that one of the like multiple cops that was there was able to back up the fact that there was only 2 people there in the car, and so there shouldn't be a claim from anyone more than 2. There shouldn't be a claim from anyone, but especially not 2 people or 4 people. 2 people would still be some bullshit, but understandable in a bullshitty way. 4 people just doesn't make any sense. And I think it was a real easy case once I was able to like throw my side in there on with another account of a cop that actually was like trying to look out for me, I guess. So anyways, like I told that story, and it wasn't a big deal, nothing happened, I was all good, and that was like that was that. I felt like I got really fucking lucky, like straight up on a technicality, on getting away with that. And the cops, they were not happy. Like they wanted me to get a DUI. Like I remember them like a couple. I remember a guy having some stuff. I think he had the breathalyzer, and he might have had something else. But like they were ready to like try to like do a sobriety test on me, but because I was on my prescription, And I don't know, this was back in like 2012. So things were a little different, I guess. I don't know. Then now, maybe not. But for some reason, I know it says don't operate motor vehicles and machinery and whatever, but like that was like some kind of a loophole that like I just got super lucky with. And I got even more lucky that I didn't like hurt anybody or anything, because there was a potential for that to really happen. So that's definitely the bigger picture of this whole story. And hopefully you're still watching, and hopefully you enjoyed the story and got something out of it. So, anyways, that's me. Um, and I'll be back with you guys tomorrow or later. Peace.